Welcome and thanks for joining our monthly community webcast. I'm Jürgen Kress, part of the Oracle product management team, supporting you as a partner. In case you missed one of our webcasts, on-demand recordings are available. For details, please see our monthly community newsletter and subscribe to our Video Hub partner channel. In today's presentation, Huang will present how to innovate Oracle SaaS with enterprise chatbots. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
So what is a digital assistant?
So a digital assistant, long and short of it, is a platform for building intelligent chatbot, right? And allows you to build a chatbot to understand user natural languages and reply in natural language as well. And so there's a good example of that you probably have already interacted with, which is Artie. And that's part of our documentation site. And you can go to the bit.ly/ODA doc, or just search for digital assistant documentation to get a real-time interaction of a digital assistant about a digital assistant.
Great, wonderful. So digital assistants are available in two different types. Customized bots can be developed by you as a partner based on the Oracle Digital Assistant platform, or pre-built SaaS skills and templates, for example, for HCM or Oracle Service, can be leveraged and extended by you as a partner. Skills and templates are available for almost all SaaS services, including HCM, service, sales, expenses, logistics, project management, EPM recruitment, or industry solutions like public sector, or on-premise solutions like PeopleSoft and Siebel. Objective of the webcast is to give you an overview of the ODA skills and templates and point out resources for further information. Please pay attention to the Oracle Safe Harbor statement. Please blog and tweet only about services and functionality which is available today. As Joe mentioned, our team is supported by Artie, a digital assistant. Please go to the Oracle documentation website and activate Artie in the lower right corner. The link is bit.ly/ODA doc. Quick housekeeping. Please feel free to post your questions via the conference Q&A tool or Twitter #PassCommunity. At the end of the webcast, we will answer them. Slides will be available at our Video Hub channel and are also posted at the community website. Please share your feedback via the Zoom survey at the end of the webcast. For today's agenda, after the community announcements, Huang will introduce ODA for SaaS, including many live demos. At the end of the webcast, we will answer your questions. So let's get started. We offer an Oracle Digital Assistant hands-on bootcamp as a next step after this webcast. Dates are July 8th for US and Europe, Middle East and Africa time zone, and July 15th for the Asia Pacific and EMEA time zone. It's for partners and Oracle employees, any developers, consultants, or UI designers who would like to try Oracle Digital Assistant. And the goal is to enable you to build a demo or proof of concept and to get certified. For registration, please visit bit.ly/ODA training. In case you can't make one of our live trainings, we continue to offer the certification and the guided learning path on demand. The Partner Technical Forum, our annual conference, is available at bit.ly/ODA PTF 2020, and it's a 3-day, 4-part series, including also some digital assistant breakouts, so make sure you watch it to get all the details. For more information, please subscribe to our monthly community newsletter. The June edition was distributed today, and with the newsletter subscription, you get also access to the community website. At the community website, you can find all links from today's webcast, including the newsletter, the training, RT, the Slack channel, and much more information. And also at the community website, we posted today's slides. Today's webcast is recorded and will be available on demand, including presentation slides at Oracle Video Hub. With that short introduction, over to you, Joe.
All right, thank you very much. Let me start sharing my screen. All right.
I can see the screen.
All right, great. So I think most of you, or at least some of you, have heard about the digital assistant and for Oracle SaaS. And we have done over the years, built out a lot of digital assistant templates, and we actually also have a few members of the teams that have helped to build these template on the call today as well. Basically, there's a wide range of pre-built skills, and again, skills are individual chatbot from us that covers all of the major pillars, right? And the primary set is from our Fusion applications and focusing on employee self-service, and the one that's really been around the longest and also have seen the most customer traction is the HCM Cloud related digital assistant skills that covers core HCM, approvals, and recruiting. However, for the ERP Cloud, there are also 3 key areas that has digital assistant, enterprise performance management. I know that a lot of the partners have worked on enterprise performance management. There are account reconciliation and financial close functionality that are now available. And also the most popular one is probably expenses. There's some really cool functionality with expenses that that's built in that can also update. And also for project management, there are a lot of there's time entry and time management. For supply chain management, is around logistics and transportation management. Oracle sales, of course, Salesforce automation related functionality. For Oracle service, actually this covers both, for those of you on the CX side, you know there are 2 flavors of service, CX and, B2B and B2C service. Basically, one is the based on the Right Now platform, and the other one is based on the Fusion platform. They both actually have pre-built integration with Oracle Digital Assistant. These, what you're seeing on the screen, is both available as an integration with the platform, as well as the there are some templates, as well as field service. And also public sector on-premise applications. There actually has been a lot of a template for PeopleSoft, and now there's a relatively new one from Siebel, and the Siebel product management team is looking to collaborate with partners and customers to deploy these. Now, from Oracle Global Business Unit, Financial Services has a customer service digital assistant available as a template. CX Communication has a customer care assistant that's available, that's shipping as part of the CX Communications offering. And also Hospitality has housekeeping digital assistant. And then we're also working on a healthcare. And for those partner, actually, if you're interested in the healthcare space, we are working on healthcare assistant, and not only as extension of the Cerner acquisition for patient records, we're also looking at patient-facing scenarios. So these are actually under development, and as well as food, beverages, and utilities. However, with the healthcare, given the strategic nature of the offering, just to interject, if you are in the healthcare space, definitely give myself and Jürgen a ping, and we're definitely very interested to talk to you to take this to the market. And just to elaborate further, right? So HCM, again, by far is our largest, has most amount of functionality, is also the around the longest, and has the most customer uptake. It's also very successful in terms of the core go-to-market of the HCM. So what does that mean? That means that at every single one of the HCM new or renewal deals, digital system is featured as a key functionality. And because of that, the HCM customers are diligently trying to implement the HCM skills. And there are a few key functional areas, quite a few key functional areas that covers from absence balances, anytime feedback, onboarding benefit plan, and things like that. And additionally, for candidates, there's also a complete set of candidate experiences, digital assistant, and a few key customers has already deployed it. And there, as well as internal candidate experience and hiring. Now, keeping in the, it seems like our HCM HR teams, whether it's on-prem or cloud, is doing a lot of work with digital assistant. PeopleSoft is not behind as well, has a number of skills in digital assistant that you can see on the screen. And as you know, PeopleSoft covers not just HCM, but also the supply chain or ERP functionality and payroll. So there are existing skills in digital assistant covering these areas. And we're going to take a look at and peek at these skills. Wouldn't be able to demonstrate all of the skills. It would just take too long. However, we will be able to, let's take a look at the, at least the skills and functionality. And as most of you have experienced the, let's see, have experience in doing the demos. We are working on demo environment. So want to make sure that it's still working. All right. So the, okay. Let's try it again. All right. So if you or your customer deployed the Oracle Fusion App Digital System or FA Digital System as is, this is basically what I'm showing here is the out-of-the-box digital assistant. In the context of HCM, I logged in as Curtis Fetty. So the significance of this is that the security integration is pre-built. The digital assistant uses the and the Fusion application integration uses IDCS, Oracle Identity Management, and Oracle Identity Management isn't really part of the native part of the, oops, sorry, let's, let me get rid of the notifications here. So this is a live demo after all. The IDCS is not native part of the Fusion application. Fusion application is using Oracle Access Manager, however, is also moving to a new version of identity. Internal name is called Henosis. I'm sure the external name is going to change, which is a combination of IAM and IDCS. However, before that happens, IDCS is used as the security integration between platform services like Digital Assistant and Digital Builder Cloud Service and HCM. There are a lot of documentation around how that would work. Obviously, there's user synchronization, all that takes place. But the long and short of it is that the Digital Assistant uses the IDCS credentials that integrates with Oracle Fusion application. So when I log into the web application, the security token is passed to the Oracle Digital Assistant. And when I invoke, for example, a let's say something like, oops. Application balance, oops. Whoops. Well, there you go. Sorry, let me try to, I think it has timed out on me. Let me sign out. So make sure I have the right ID, password. All right, and also the other thing I just wanted to briefly explain, I'm currently in a sandbox, and sandbox is a fusion application concept that basically allows you to stage changes, and have made some changes so that actually this restores to the, this is our demo environment. If you have access to our demo environment, the digital assistant you see is actually slightly different. It's actually a customized version of the digital assistant, actually shows you what you can do by customization. This just restores to the original version, and I can say, what is my vacation balance? This is probably my favorite way of opening a demo. And then basically, as it calls the backend APIs to retrieve the vacation balance. So there's no kind of secret here. Digital assistant is a platform service. So it needs to use publish APIs from HCM or Fusion applications to call the backend service. In this case, it calls the vacation balance service to retrieve the vacation balance, and also give you a deep link to the functionality. And if you click on that, it's going to take you to the to that screen to be able to take further actions on scheduled time off. Now, and I can also ask another question. I'll just type it in. Who is my manager? And that shows another aspect of the digital assistant. Now, I think for those of you who are familiar with digital assistant, I won't spend too much time on what is going on here, but the first level is I'm basically working in the context of a HCM assistant. And within HCM assistant, it supports a pretty large number of functionality, what we call intents. First one calls the vacation balance or absence balance set of intents. And the second one is employee directory that returns information like who's my manager. Of course, I can also ask further questions. And it shows me my current pay, $31 an hour. Wow. And got a 5% raise. Well, that's good. Okay. Now, another aspect, and where you may be asked by your customers to do, is to implement a different user interface. And for employee assistant, Microsoft Teams is by far the most popular, second interface for integrating with Oracle Digital Assistant. Again, there are documentations on how to integrate with Microsoft Teams. You do need a Microsoft Teams account, and you can also ask Artie. However, I can ask the exact same thing. Can you display? And that will go to the back end. And again, in this case, the identical answer, except that you're accessing through Microsoft Teams. So again, if you're not familiar with Oracle Digital Assistant, this shows the another key feature of the Oracle Digital Assistant, which is the channels. The channels basically allows a single digital assistant to connect with multiple applications, as well as trying to abstract differences in terms of authentication, integration, and also UI differences, so that a single digital assistant can be surfaced through multiple interfaces. Now, one of the things that I can also do is, now I've been running in HCM skills, and another popular skill is the Oracle expenses. And the Oracle expenses is, of course, part of the Oracle Financial Cloud, and which is part of the Oracle ERP Cloud. The for expenses, there are actually quite a bit of a functionality around that. The first thing that you'll be able to do, and this is actually in the process of switching to expenses skill. So we can see that another feature that is part of the Oracle Digital Assistant is the fact that it's able to work with multiple chatbot or skills. It's a very important concept because as the as you can imagine, your customer is has multiple points where a digital assistant, where chatbot may be needed. There's HCM, where there are expenses, and it's just simply not possible to build a single chatbot to interact with all of the different functionality. What the digital assistant is able to do is understand from the user utterance, basically what user typed in, what user is asking, and then route the request to the appropriate chatbot or skills. It's a very powerful concept, however, very critical for enterprise adoption of the digital assistant. So with the expenses skill, what you'll be able to do, and this is pretty cool, actually, let me see. I've been working on the working on my expenses, so I'm going to upload a receipt. Recently, I don't know if anyone on the call today traveled to one of the 3 recent conferences. I was in 2 of them for Oracle user groups. One is the Blueprint 4D by Kress user group. Another one is Ascend by HCM, and also Oracle App and Technology user group. And then just this past week, K-Scope, ODTUG, which unfortunately I couldn't make to that one. 3 in a row is just a bit too much for me. However, for those of you who travels, you appreciate that. And I have used this actually during traveling to be able to upload a receipt and then automatically create an expenses item. And the expenses bot has a document cloud service, AI service embedded in it to be able to parse the receipt. So of course it can't really parse the expense type, but it's able to parse, for example, amount and merchant name and so forth. So let's say it asks for the different type. This is a breakfast. All right, and as you can see, it's able to parse the merchant name and the date and so forth, right? So you could see 327 and so forth. All right, and so I can go ahead and create that. Now, while this is being created, I'm just going to go back and forth a little bit. And let me see if just do both at the same time, just to show that this is not a single threaded process. And of course, there's a few other things I can do. Another key functionality that I think your customer may be interested in, going back to HR related functionality, is HR help desk. So for example, I can access a knowledge base from the HR help desk and ask a question. So I can say, well, is my office open or is it still closed during for the pandemic? And you could see that it's able to again search the knowledge base and return a list of related articles. And again, this is something that you'll be able to tweak. It has to do with integration with our HR help desk. Okay, and just come back with another window. I typed in my daily briefing, which is actually a CX sales skill. The demo user, to be honest, that I've logged in is not a sales user, so it doesn't have a lot of information, but just to show you that it was able to, again, switch seamlessly over to another skill. So we just covered 3 skills so far, right? And there's quite a few other skills that obviously are available. Rather than just keep on going, there's tons of functionality that you can explore. Again, the environment is available through demo services. What I want to do is just switch over to the digital assistant development console and see what that looks like, right? So the first thing I wanted to show is to refresh the screen. All right, and to look at the skill store. So in the digital system development console, there's a concept of skill store. Skill store is basically you will be able to pull all the pre-built digital assistant templates or pre-built digital assistant. And there's quite a few of these in the skill store. What I'm looking at now is in the production environment. Or the demo environment, the demo production environment, which is almost like the production environment you have. Now, one of the things that you may or may not notice is that if you have your own digital system environment, you don't have all of the digital assistant or skills I'm showing here. Now you can filter, let's just filter based on digital assistant to make it a little bit more manageable. The reason is that only there are 2 types of digital assistant instances, and this is something that once you get into, especially you're on the Fusion side of the integration and partner work, you will notice that there are really 2 types of digital assistant instances. One is a standalone instance. A standalone instance have all the digital assistant skills except the Fusion digital assistant skills. And the reason is that these Fusion digital assistant skills are tied to Oracle Fusion applications, and they're only available in digital assistant instances that are provisioned with the Oracle Fusion application. And without going into too much detail, just something to keep in mind is that if you have a Fusion application customer, they already have digital system provision for them. They simply need to activate it, and again, there are documentation to help you activate it. Actually, let me just briefly break away to show the link to the documentation. So if you Google or search or just get to the Oracle Digital Assistant documentation under Oracle skills, you will see a lot of links to all of the documentation for the different digital assistant skills that are pre-built. And in order to configure that, there's a nice link here to show you how you would discover and activate the digital assistant instances that are paired with your Fusion application. And there are a few things that you need to set up. For example, as I mentioned earlier, digital assistant for Fusion uses IDCS to integrate with Oracle Fusion backend. So the first thing we need to do is go into IDCS, set up the development console access through these user roles. And for those of you, again, who used with IDCS before, it would look very familiar. Just find the application, and that's a concept of IDCS, or I think it's now called Cloud Services. In the IDCS console, find the corresponding entry for the Oracle Digital Assistant instance and assign the roles. And then for each of the digital assistant, for each of the Fusion application environment, there's a corresponding digital assistant environment as well as IDCS stripe provisioned with that, right? So you can just think of it's a very, very simple one-to-one mapping between the Fusion application environment and digital assistant. One of the questions that we get a lot is, hey, can our customer and uses can they use their development environment? Do they get the development environment, test environment for digital system for their Fusion work? The answer is, well, if they bought the test and development environment for Fusion, they have corresponding digital system environment that's pre-integrated with that environment that will be able to get data and also configuration from these Fusion environments. So just activate the corresponding digital system environment as per instruction here. And then you'll be able to get into and start configure the digital system. All right, going back to the skill store. However, outside of the Fusion app digital assistant, which only shows up in the hybridized or paired digital assistant instances of Fusion applications, other digital assistant and skills such as PeopleSoft, enterprise performance management, these, and also service cloud related templates. These are all available in standalone instances. And so let's look at the skills. And of course, with skills, again, candidate experience, that's associated with the HCM. You only see it with Fusion, and then there are a few other skills. Now, before I go into other skills, let me just go and into the digital assistant that we just worked with FA Digital Assistant. As a matter of fact, I want to get to the latest version. The latest version that's published is Fusion App Digital Assistant 2207. That corresponds to the Fusion version 22C. Again, there are a lot of details around mapping the digital system versions to the Fusion application versions. The 2207 maps to Fusion application version 22C. Now, one of the an item I want to give a shout out to, and notice that our HCM COE team members are on the call. Sherlina and the teams are on the call, and there are great resources. I think if you are on the HCM side, you have listened to the HCM office hours, and that's a great place to understand, for example, the mapping between the Fusion application versions and digital assistant. So let's look at the what's in the what's called FA Digital Assistant. So that's really the flagship digital assistant that we're providing as part of the digital assistant template. And what you could see is, obviously it's available in the skill store. Once I pulled it in the skill store, which takes a little time, so I'm not going to do that. I actually pre-pulled it. Then you will see that it's all of the associated skills are pulled from it as well. And the digital assistant, FA Digital Assistant, focus on employee self-service related functionality. So this only includes employee self-service. For external services such as candidate experience, is shipped as a separate skill because chances are you're going to hook different user interface to these skills. However, all of the ones that we're shipping as part of the FA Digital Assistant is what you have in the skill. Now, again, I know some of you are working in Fusion, some of it is on-prem. If you're on the Fusion side, you know that there are multiple pillars, and this really literally includes skills from multiple pillars. Apologies for a little UI anomaly. Just a side note, if you are on a digital system partner, yes, the latest version of the Chrome actually introduced some UI regressions, some funny looking things. You won't see that on Safari or anything, but if you notice some funny little things where a customer did, we are working on that, trying to identify the issues. It has to do with Chrome version 103. Anyway, side note, in case you see what the heck is this little thing doing there. All right, now the different skills. if we go top down, account reconciliation, consolidation, and close. These are the EPM, enterprise performance related related skills. And I'll just quickly go through and click through a few screenshots in the interest of time. There are two functionality, two digital assistant or skills associated with enterprise performance management. One is the account reconciliation, and you'll be able to basically from the digital assistant, you can type show me tax reconciliations, show me tax reconciliations, or rec tax, and basically you can see a list of reconciliations. And you can also filter the reconciliations by open late accounts and so forth. And you can also post comment to these the different reconciliations that you're working on, and so forth. All right. Another, and you'll be able to see that these are then reflected in the web UI. Another functionality is financial consolidation. And again, in the enterprise performance management, financial consolidation and close. Again, you can see that there's a few things you can do. You know, it's just your CIO or CFO, sorry, is always on the go. This is going to be his or her best friend. Again, the same UI can work on the EPM UI as well as through Microsoft Teams. Again, this is really help you to expose these functionality to your end user. And just here are some of the more functionality around and what you can ask. The financial consolidation, net income for North America, show my journal to approve, and so forth. Rather than going to the web UI, this is a really quick and easy way for your CFO or accounting manager to interact with financial close data to approve these entries. Going back to the FA Digital Assistant, there are a few other, the next on the docket is CX Sales. And CX Sales, I don't have the right demo user to show it, but I'll just quickly show that it's really designed to allow the sales rep on the go to very quickly get to their sales data, right? So rather than, and this is really literally much quicker than even opening up a mobile application and get these information. Another cool thing that you'll be able to do is, you know, rather than type in call notes, you'll be able to say the call notes and have it recorded. All right. And see if I can go back to FA Digital Assistant. Then expenses, we just test and look at, and the you can, you know, with each one of those, you can all go to the from the digital assistant to go to individual skills. All right, and of course there's project time entry and project management, and the functionality are different. One is primarily for the individual members to team members to enter their time, and another one obviously is for the project manager to perform project management tasks. That's why there are two different skills. Okay, now that's great, and there's a lot of the functionality you can deploy, and obviously there are other skills that you can deploy as well. Let me just go back to the skill to see what are the other skills that are pre-built and that are available. Another set is the Oracle field service. The field service functionality is primarily around where's my technician, and to enable customer and technician interaction. So if, let's say, technician's running if a customer is running late, it's not going to be home, the customer will be able to use the digital assistant to arrange to report coordination issues and essentially reschedule the appointment. Order shipment is related to Oracle transportation management, and that has to do with drivers and the customers finding out shipment status. And then there's a very rich set of PeopleSoft skills that you will see. PeopleSoft skills consist of two types. And what you will see here is there's a set of pre-built skills, and the digital assistant, the main digital assistant for PeopleSoft, as many of you know, is Picasso. And the Picasso is a acronym, a very clever acronym for PeopleSoft employee-facing digital assistant. And there's also a second type of PeopleSoft skill is actually just template. This template is basically a generic template. So for example, there isn't a skill for PeopleSoft Campus solution. However, you can use the skills template, which contains pre-built integration and custom component sample code to the backend to be able to connect to PeopleSoft backend. Permit recommendation, permit search has to do with Fusion public sector and city government. The permit management are nowadays a big business for city government. So there are a lot of, so there's a digital assistant that the city government can implement for permits and things like that. I'll admit, I think these are more North American centric, but well, you know, the customer will be able to take these. And last but not the least, and whoops, this is where actually I originally came from Siebel. So this is, it's great to see Siebel also have a service bot that's now available as a template. So there are quite a few skills. Now, what can you do with the skills, right? So the next question is, how does the partner play into it? You know, there are a lot of these templates that are available. I think the biggest thing to remember is these are essentially as templates, right? And I'll just go through a few slides to explain what I mean by that. Is that there are really two types of digital assistant or chatbot that you will encounter. One is, you know, you may have to build from scratch or almost from scratch. Basically, this is most common with customer-facing chatbot or digital assistant. Another one is where you will be asked to configure and customize pre-built chatbot. And most common is for the FA digital assistant that have just gone through and demonstrated. Now, so that's the first decision that, you know, as you engage with your customer, depending on the scenario, the best practices are different. For quote unquote build from scratch, we do have a lot of best practices and template to help you accelerate development. As a matter of fact, we have a set of I thought I have a set of slides. Let me see if I have it. Oh yeah, I do have it. For the for example, for Oracle Service, there is a set of template that we ship and we built, and there's a demo site that you can try for B2C Service. And the service template includes a template for FAQs. You may be thinking, what is a template for FAQ? Well, FAQs, people may still ask a lot of silly questions, and the digital assistant will try to answer and handle these small talks through the FAQ skill. And there are also other templates, such as a template for integrating, integrate with live agent, integrating with knowledge search. Knowledge search, again, it's not just a blanket global search on a knowledge article, for digital assistant. Digital assistant can also, you can also actually create a digital assistant so that it pinpoints to specific article or set of articles to return to optimize the experience for, frequently requested knowledge article. So there are a lot of these templates that are available that you can leverage, but essentially for the built from scratch scenarios, it's a very useful tool to do that. However, in those cases, I think you and certainly if customer wants to do it themselves, they absolutely need to have training and development training. And this is where I think most of you are familiar with the great training that are conducted by Frank, Nymphias, Grant Ronald's team, and Daniel, who is part of the teams on the call today, will be able to connect you with the training. There's actually a upcoming partner bootcamp that Jürgen, no doubt, is making all of you aware. But if you somehow missed that, okay, join the bootcamp, and this is what you need to help build a digital system. Now, the second path is you may be also asked to, okay, well, there are pre-built digital assistant and chatbot, especially for Fusion application customers. These are pretty common for employee assistant chatbot, where the process is pretty well understood. Now, the existing solution can be used right away, but it will require configuration and care and feeding to make it useful. Now, and this is something that I think there's a lot of misconception with the customers that, there's a pre-built skill. I can just use it as is. Reality is that it cannot. It really cannot. And you can use it. The customer can use it. It will retrieve some accuracy, but it won't be very high. What is the reason for that? Is it false advertising that, these are pre-built, so I can just use it as is? Well, no, it's very simple. Fundamentally, I'll go into it a bit, but fundamentally, these pre-built digital assistant is based on template. Just as in a lot of cases, you're asked to, when you implement Fusion applications or any other enterprise application, you have to customize it. You have to customize the digital assistant to fit their process. And on top of that, the digital assistant relies on natural language, right? You think we all have different way of talking, right? And the way I talk is going to be very different from the way all of you talk, and the way I ask questions is going to be different. So imagine digital assistant needs to understand the different ways of asking a question. It's going to be very difficult. Now, the core AI engine tries to accommodate based on a set of training data, trying to accommodate different ways of asking a question, but there's no way that it can just know all of the combinations. So it's really important to understand the post-implementation care and feeding, and setting up a time and infrastructure for that is absolutely critical to the success of actually any chatbot project, right? Now, going down the path a little bit for building a digital system from scratch, I know that we're running short on time, so let me just quickly wrap up in a couple minutes, and then I'll handle some Q&A before Jürgen yanked me virtually from from the podium. On some of the best practices and resources for building digital assistant from scratch, in the digital assistant documentation is actually a very nice blueprint, a blueprint on how to build digital assistant. I'm not going to go through it, but just go to the digital assistant and look for the digital assistant blueprint. Some of the other best practices when you build digital system from scratch. Use cases and pick the right use case is very important. The one thing that you do not want to do is to just replicate the web application. The way that you want to look at the good use cases is for the use cases where it lends itself to quick interactions. So in a way, the requirement for mobile apps, a good requirement for mobile apps is probably a good requirement for digital assistant. And then on top of that, the ones that are optimal for verbal interactions, such as taking call notes and things like that, that's additionally a good use case for, we would always recommend start with these use cases are optimal for digital assistant and the conversational user interface. Then you're actually halfway there in your success. And of course, most of you are familiar with the CDX, which is Conversation Design Workshop, and we can help you with that. And one other thing with the CX service and just CX service specific recommendation, there are two ways to integrate with Live Agent. I think most of you are probably familiar with the second way, which is around for a long time, which is the digital assistant always sits in front of the service Live Agent. Our recommendation is that to go with digital assistant as an agent, which is a newer integration mechanism, so that's much more native way of integrating with Service Cloud. Sometimes you still have to use Live Agent transfer when you use, for example, third-party Live Agent systems, such as integrating with Zendesk. Tamer from our enablement team has a great set of article around that, or you have to use Web SDK as the user interface. However, we do have Web SDK support for chat inlay on the roadmap. But long and short of it, if you're on the CX service side, we highly, 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 highly recommend you to use DA as an agent. It is the strategic direction going forward. And then before I go, there are a lot of best practices. I'm going to borrow a slide from our HCM COE team on implementing pre-built skills. Now, I think for implementing pre-built skills, the temptation is to implement all the functionality in these pre-built skills, for example, HCM. That's actually not a good practice, right? And actually, we don't, unfortunately, practice our best practice. Our skills actually tries to do peanut butter, basically tries to have a lot of functionality, but skin deep. What we recommend you to do is actually look at the top scenarios that your customer wants to use, then focus on and deploy these first, and then make these work really well, and then move on to the others. The reason is that even on, just with these limited set of skills, you're going to see a lot of unique ways that your user is going to, or your customer's user is going to ask the question, so that you absolutely want to make these work really well first before moving on to the next ones. And the other reason that you want to do that is that for a digital assistant that has multiple turns, if even the digital assistant has let's say 90% accuracy, if you have 6 turns in a digital assistant, by the time it's 6 turn, there's the actually, even if the digital assistant is 90% accurate, over time, by the 6th interaction, the chance of failure that one of these interactions is going to fail is going to increase to 45%, right? So it's also very important to be able to establish high accuracy. All right, so I took way too much time, but I think there are some questions that I'll try to answer.
So wonderful presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the nice demos. Let me wrap up and present the resources. And if you have questions, you can send Q&A and we answer them in a minute. You can also mute yourself, raise your hand, and we will mute you. If you're not yet a member in the partner communities, please make sure that you register. For digital assistant, please join the developer partner community. Like Joe pointed out, we offered the one-day hands-on boot camps with Daniel. Daniel is with us, so thank you for answering all the questions and for running the trainings. The link is bit.ly/ODA training. And if you want to watch the on-demand community forum with the digital assistant track, it's also available. The website you showed with all the pre-built SaaS skills for Oracle Digital Assistant is available at bit.ly/SaaSODA. And you can find all of that information at our community websites, which require community membership. So make sure you register. With that, some questions from the Q&A functionality. And if you would like to ask your questions live, you can unraise your hand and we mute you. So first question, Joe, what is the license model for the SaaS skills?
Very good question. So the SaaS skills, for the SaaS skills, first the difference is fusion and non-fusion. For fusion-related skills such as Oracle HCM and expenses, the ability to deploy the skills as is or with minimum configuration, such as adding synonyms, that's actually included as part of the base Fusion license, which is actually a great way for your customers to start, or you to start, implement these skills and try these out. However, the ability to customize, to add utterances, and also to, for example, tune the digital assistant. And what we're finding is every single customer who wants to take digital assistant live needs the ability to make these type of more extensive modifications to what we call the model. In order to do that, the customer needs the platform license, right? So pretty much everyone who needs to go live need the platform license, although the base is included in the base Fusion application. Now, for the platform license, as Jürgen mentioned earlier in the webcast, it's offered in two models. Both models meet the requirement. One is the digital system platform SaaS, as sold by the SaaS reps. Then the second is the as part of the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Tech SKU Universal Credit that also meets the platform requirement. So it's available for in both.
Great. So we have a lot of pre-built skills. Is there anything available for Oracle E-Business Suite?
At this point, not yet. We are working to see if we can build some templates, but this is a great opportunity for partners. So for example, one of our partner who are in the automation and Oracle Forms business, I think most of you, some of you may know, OraPlayer, for example, has a connector to EBS and also some digital system templates. But although it is really wide open, there's currently no pre-built integration. So great opportunity for partners to be able to leverage your existing EBS expertise. Now, the thing about EBS though, and going back to all of the best practices, is looking at the right use case to automate for EBS. Not trying to replicate EBS functionality. Things like time entry expenses are really good examples of use cases. And there's nothing that's pre-built from Oracle. So again, a great opportunity for partners to get into.
Same for supplier portal. Justin is with us on the call. Justin, you have a question.
Hi, John Jürgen. Thank you very much for the time and content. I was curious if within ERP Cloud, are there roles and data access necessary similar to OGL configuration?
Yes. So in order for so there are two types of privileges that you need to configure. One is privileges that you need to assign to roles to allow the chat to be displayed. For ERP, I'm trying to think. For ERP expenses is through Microsoft Teams. Sorry, let me finish that. So the first part is the whatever privilege that you may have to expose to the web UI. If for the ERP skill that you have surfaces the functionality through web UI. The second part is a privileges associated with calling the APIs. And this is actually one of the things that we're noticing, that a lot of our customers goes in and tries to clean up these different rows and remove privileges and remove the privileges to call the Fusion REST APIs from the users, and then their digital assistant suddenly wouldn't work. Just something to remember, underneath the covers, digital assistant still calls the Fusion API through the call the Fusion REST APIs. So you do need to make sure that these users has the privileges to call the API. Now, once you call these APIs, there isn't really a separate set of data or anything. Digital Assistant is natively integrated with Fusion, so that all the data, all that user roles is going to be honored by the digital assistant. However, just to keep in mind that with the surface digital assistant and allow digital assistant to call the APIs, there are some privileges that you need to configure for these applications.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
And the next question is from Satya. Can pre-built skills be customized?
Absolutely. So maybe this is like a whole session that we can have, and we actually have trainings. So again, give shout out to the boot camp for Jürgen's boot camp. We'll cover that, but all of these pre-built skills are available as what you see on the screen earlier, and you can have complete ability to customize it. What we didn't get a chance to go into that is that there's a concept of extending a skill to allow you to modify these pre-built skills, adding utterances, changing the flows, and things like that. But we'll still be able to track the difference, so that when you have a new version of the skill, you can rebase the skill to a new version. We'll cover that in a training. The long and short of it, you can absolutely do a lot of things to customize it. As a matter of fact, as we mentioned earlier, it is absolutely critical that you plan to customize and also do post-deployment care and feeding to make sure the project is successful. Every one of these projects that we work with, even with pre-built skills, require post-implementation and care and feeding and testing to make sure that they're successful, because the first day that the digital assistant goes live typically is the worst day in the digital assistant, because suddenly you have a lot of users trying to use it. So the ability for you to customize it, first of all, is complete, and is actually very critical. All right, maybe that's a sign for me to. Okay.
And Satya, did you answer your question?
Yeah, it does. But I was having another question. Consider many clients are in, other chatbots like Google or some, what we are seeing as of now, they are migrating into complete Oracle transformation, right? ERP and all. So they might need to migrate their Google chatbots into Oracle chatbot as well.
Yeah.
Do we have, templates or accelerator where I don't have to rebuild all skills and intents, and it gets easily migrated to the Oracle chatbot?
That's a good question. Unfortunately, currently, there isn't a standard for these type of chatbot format, or even what the training data looks like. And every bot platform also have a different NLU engine that deals with training. So there isn't, either going from a third party to ours, or from, we also get a question, what about from Oracle? We have these pre-built chatbot. Can you easily port to Google? There's no easy way. What I will say though is, if you do have pre-existing training data, there are mechanisms, obviously, that we can work with you to import these into the digital assistant. Also, look at the pre-built skills. But unfortunately, there isn't a way for these chatbot currently that can interact or port to each other.
Yeah, thanks. Probably in future roadmap for at least top digital assistant other than Oracle, if we can have something, you know, then it would expedite the whole implementation of ODA as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a very interesting discussion itself. And just for example, mechanism, take Microsoft as an example. There are two ways to code a Microsoft bot. One is through their JavaScript mechanism. Two is they introduce Dialogflow. Both of these are proprietary mechanisms, right? So, and actually, it may be something that we can work with a partner like yourself to look at commonality and ways to port that. But yeah, right now it is pretty difficult, I'll be honest, and we just have to work with you on that. Yeah.
Next question comes from Deborah, and she would like to know which languages does the Oracle Digital Assistant support?
Sure. The Oracle Digital Assistant itself supports multiple language in two ways. One is through native training, and one is through translation services. For native training, meaning that you can create utterances in non-English languages, are supported. All the major European languages are supported, including Dutch. We have a lot of Dutch developers, and they make sure we have class 1 Dutch support. And what's cool about that support is that you don't have to recreate your training data in different languages. Our core NLU engine is multilingual. So you can create let's say if you create a multilingual bot, you can create your bot in English or the primary language, whatever that primary user would be. And then for each of the additional language you want to support, you simply add utterances in that other language to essentially tune for colloquialism or slangs or anything that doesn't really work that well in English. So that's one mechanism. And then obviously you can use translation services as well. So that's the core digital system platform, what it supports. The skills that we pre-ship out of the box, predominantly they support English. So there are some work that you can do as a partner to take these to add and translate into different languages. So that is a partner opportunity. That's not something that we have done yet so far. We do have it on a roadmap for some of our Fusion applications to add key other languages such as Brazilian Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, German, and so forth. But they're not there yet. However, the platform itself does support these languages natively.
Okay, we are far over time. Last question from Dasgupta. For pre-built skills, can we choose your own channel for deployment?
Very good question. The pre-built skills has a set of channels that are supported out of the box. However, partners would be able to also take these skills and add additional channels. I mean, the customer would need the platform license. Now, what does that entail? What does that really mean, right? So well, the long and short of it, it's just like any other partner work. You need to test the digital assistant skills on that new channel to make sure that it still works. Most of the skills, for example, HCM and expenses and also sales, right? They are available in web and or Microsoft Teams and Slack. They're natively supported in these channels, meaning that they're tested, they're verified in these channels, and there may be even some special optimization. For example, we do with Microsoft Teams that uses adaptive cards to do inline editing. That's there. But if you want to add, for example, I don't know, Microsoft, Facebook Messenger, or even custom That's you can absolutely do that using the platform, but it is additional testing that you obviously need to do to see if the UI renders properly and account for the and actually one interesting example would be WhatsApp. Obviously, the WhatsApp interface and what it can display is a little bit different from Facebook or Microsoft Teams in terms of the available HTML support and UI components. So you do need to test it and then make customizations accordingly.
Joe, thank you very much for the excellent webcast. Thank you everybody for attending. If you have questions, you can reach out to us, or best you contact RT, or you join our partner Slack channel where you can also post your questions and the team is supporting you. Thank you for attending today's webcast. Once you leave, please complete the online survey, and we are looking forward to welcome you for the next webcast, July 26th. And there, Suhas Ulia will give you an update on our key sales plays for the fiscal year FY23, which just started. So thank you very much for attending, and we are looking forward to welcome you soon.